I'm Bo Railey, owner of Exercise Incorporated. I'm here with Dr. Doug McGuff, who has come to Brownsburg, Indiana to talk to us about his book that he just wrote, Body by Science. And the Body by Science book pretty much describes the exercise program that we've been doing at Exercise Incorporated for the last 5 years. Doug, why don't you tell us just a little bit about the book and why you decided to write the book and you know who your target audience is, who you're trying to reach with the book.
Great. The reason I wrote the book is I really just want to change the way the world exercises. If you look at the way that we are currently doing exercise, the conventional wisdom about exercise, if you wanted to do it as wrong as possible, that's exactly how we're doing it. And if you doubt me on that, all it takes is to look around. Go to Walmart, go to the airport. You're going to see the great failure of our contemporary notions about diet and exercise. And I want to turn all that on its head. And the premise of the book's pretty much covered on the cover of the book. It says, a research-based program for strength training, bodybuilding, and complete fitness in 12 minutes a week. So first, I'm not asking anyone to take this on faith or my say-so. It's research-based. It has all the literature that backs it up. It's for strength training, bodybuilding, and complete fitness, and that sounds like three separate things, but what the book will establish is those things are all one and the same. If you get one, you're getting the other. They're all interconnected, and we'll demonstrate that in the talk tonight. And then finally, in 12 minutes a week, when the workout is intense enough to actually demand your body to produce results, by necessity, it has to be that short. You can't take much more than that. And if your body's going to make a big adaptive response to that, it simply takes the right amount of time for that to happen, and it turns out that about 7 days is the amount of time that's needed for that to occur.
We constantly hear from people all the time when we tell people our program is 20 minutes once a week, which yours is 12. We use 8 minutes to let people sit down and rest before they leave,
Yeah.
but the workout's still about 12
Right,
minutes.
I ran a stopwatch on what you guys are doing. You're wrapping it up pretty much in 12 to 15 minutes.
But our number one objection is, well, you have to do something else for your heart, for your cardiovascular system. We run into that all the time. What do you tell people in regard to that when people ask you, well, what else do you need to do for your cardiovascular system, for your heart?
I tell them, unless you want to do other things for recreational reasons, you don't have to do anything else. And the reason is, you know, when you think about the heart and blood vessels, people have this romantic notion that somehow you can directly access that system and train it. But the fact of the matter is the only way you can get at your cardiac or vascular system is by performing mechanical work with muscle. And the higher the quality of the mechanical work with muscle, the greater the cardiovascular stimulus. The other thing is when you start any sort of workout regimen and you start to see improvements in cardiac parameters, most people think that that's something that's happening in the heart and blood vessels themselves. And to a small extent that's true, but the great majority of those adaptations are really nothing more than autonomic adjustments to improvements that are occurring at the cellular level in the muscle. So this gets it and takes care of it. Now, most people connect aerobics with cardiovascular, and that is just trying to emphasize lower intensity exercise that triggers only the portion of metabolism that uses oxygen. Well, at the conclusion of one of your workouts, you're paying back a huge oxygen debt. When one of your clients leaves, they get in their car, they go back to their office, work on the computer, go to lunch, what have you, they're actually getting their 45 or 50 minutes of ramping up that aerobic subset of metabolism that's thought to benefit the cardiovascular system, but they're doing it while they're doing other productive things. They don't have to spend 45 minutes or an hour on the gerbil wheel trying to accomplish that.
So cardiovascularly, this is going to do more for you than any other type of activity you would attempt to do.
Yes, and it's going to do it safer.
Okay.
Because when you're doing intense muscular contractions, that's actually milking a large volume of venous blood back to the right side of the heart. Well, the amount of blood that returns to the right side of the heart directly correlates with the amount of blood that backwashes into the coronary arteries of the heart. So it's actually cardioprotective for any given level of exertion. So not only are you bringing about a better stimulus, you're doing it in a much safer fashion.
Mm-hmm. You have a chapter in the book on nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
just quickly, because we do a lot of work with our clients on nutrition, and we have very similar thoughts on how we handle that.
Okay.
Just give us a quick scenario of what you would tell somebody they need to do in terms of nutrition, how you recommend most people eat.
Well, I recommend people eat real food, okay? And we're talking fruits, vegetables, meats, and I really favor what's called a hunter-gatherer diet. I favor a diet that acknowledges that we have evolved over millions of years, but agricultural technology has only existed for 10,000 years, and our genome's not been able to adjust to that. So I tell people, it's like, if you can pick it, plant it, catch it with a hook, or kill it with a stick, that's what you should be eating. What you should be avoiding is any grain-based carbohydrate, any seed head of a plant that has to be ground into flour and processed into food. That creates a huge spike in your blood glucose, which requires high insulin levels, and insulin is the storage hormone for the body. When it's elevated, you're going to store body fat and you can't release it. So by combining a hunter-gatherer diet with high-intensity exercise, you can really turn around the whole problem of obesity and the metabolic syndrome. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
Okay, which is pretty much the same thing we recommend, and
It works.
see fantastic results combining that hunter-gatherer diet with the high-intensity training, 5 exercises once a week, and you're on with your life.
Yeah.
It's a great program. Really appreciate you writing the book and coming up here to Indianapolis to talk with us and work out with us and share your thoughts with us.
My pleasure.